forward to in 2016. We're really looking at what's going to happen with inventory. What about interest rates? What is that going to do to housing? But we got to remember that all housing markets are local. So we're going to bring this down to the San Diego level. That was a CNBC clip, which is a national video. Let's look at what's happening here in San Diego. Joining us in studio, number one in the downtown real estate market, our good friend, Chad Dannecker. Chad, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Craig.
And also we got Rafael Castellanos. You say it much more eloquently than I do, running for city council. You're also the port commissioner down there and have a lot of initiatives going on. So good to have you on the show as well.
Thank you very much.
So Chad, when you watch the CNBC video, obviously that's a national interview, but all housing markets are local. But I do think low inventory is common amongst all cities, all metro cities. Low interest rates are a universal thing. So what are you seeing downtown?
So downtown, piggybacking on what they're saying, it's actually a different story here. So in downtown, there's been a ton of inventory added, but no actually condos for sale. So you've got all sorts of apartment buildings. So the housing problem is being solved to some degree. However, the life cycle of a condo building, if you start building a single family home today, you could be done in a year. You start building a high-rise condo and you're looking at 3 years.
Right.
So we started building condos about this time last year. They broke ground just before the end of last year. You're not going to see any new condo delivered until the summer of 17. So we're really seeing a problem with inventory, just like piggybacking on what they're saying in CNBC. And because of that, we've got the millennials, and then we've also got the baby boomers coming in. The kids and the parents are fighting over the same thing. They all want to be in a cool urban environment with walkability, entertainment, and lifestyle. It's all about lifestyle. That's what people want today. So it's really a dynamic market. It's very interesting, and it's a fun place to be.
You know, I think that's a cool point to make, that you do have a younger generation getting into downtown, Little Italy, the metro marketplace, but also the empty nesters are coming down there as well. And that speaks to how great of a job I believe that San Diego's done in making a residential type city, which is very unique to, well, I'm from St. Louis. You don't want to live in St. Louis, right? You want to go to the suburbs.
And we're just at the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at everything happening downtown right now, we've got East Village, over in the East Village, a brand new community developing with the Idea District. So Makers Quarter is the first section of that Idea 1. You're talking $1 billion project, and it's all centered around technology, bringing in tech companies, startup companies, and then also what they're really trying to do is blur the lines between living and work, so that they're trying to create like work environments where you've got all sorts of fantastic amenities and whatnot, and then the same thing for living. So it's a walkable area where you don't even need a car to live. So that's pretty interesting. Then you go over to the other side of downtown, and you've got the waterfront going on over there, which is amazing. You know, you've got Doug Manchester embarking on a $1 billion project over there, 6 city blocks right along the waterfront. So I thought today it would be really cool to bring Rafael Castellanos in. He's running for the city attorney, and he's also a port commissioner. So who knows better the projects happening in San Diego and actually taking part in making those important decisions and moving San Diego forward with development than Mr. Rafael Castellanos.
Yeah, so your finger is all over the pulse of some of these initiatives. I mean, I got a lot of questions for you. I mean, some of these new high-rises he's referring to, some of the condo buildings, the convention center expansion. So from your point of view, what are you seeing down there?
Well, I see a lot of cranes in the air is what I see, which is a good thing. But I think Chad is absolutely right that most of it is apartment stock right now, and it does take a number of years to get these condo projects online. The time horizon to get this stuff done is it takes a while. So if we really want to have some affordable housing, the city really needs to do the best that it can do to lower the regulatory burden, get these projects to market as fast as possible. There was a study recently by an academic at Point Loma Nazarene University that indicated that 40% of the cost of housing is attributable to regulatory costs, the costs associated with that. So we really need good land use planning at the city. We need to streamline development services. We need to allow builders to get this housing to market as soon as possible, and that will result, hopefully, in a reduction in the cost of housing, and that will be good for everyone, the millennials, the folks who are retiring and competing for this housing. So we really need to push that. We need to have our city leaders focusing on the right planning, smart growth, and facilitating the building of stock.
You know, Chad, earlier you were talking about how we have a problem down there and some of it's being addressed, but a lot of it is rental units, right? So we see rental prices going up in the downtown market and really across San Diego. So how much is solving the rental housing crisis and what's happening with rent prices, and how much is creating opportunities to actually buy down there? When you talk about inventory, you said it's increased, but I think we're talking more rental. Is it is there opportunities to get in there and buy if you want to be a first-time home buyer, maybe a second home investment property down there?
Absolutely. So it's kind of interesting. The market's tight, but it's the $1 million market that's tight from 800,000 to like 1.4 million. That's probably the tightest market we have downtown. Same thing, 6 to 800. There's just not a lot there. People come in excited to buy downtown. They have an idea of what they want. They've seen it online before because they've been somewhere else, some other state, some other county looking, getting their ducks in a row. They finally get here and then there's nothing. So that's been the interesting thing. But ironically, on the lower price, when you get down into that 300 to 450,000 range, there's 1 and 2 bedroom condos, 2 bed, 2 bath, 2 parking that are available over in that idea district I was talking about. So you're buying into an area that's not fully developed yet. So when you walk out your door, there's not 50 restaurants and 50 things to go do right there. You have to walk 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks. Big deal. Like,
it's going to be okay.
Let's use our legs. It's going to be okay. In the meantime, you're parking your capital somewhere that you have to live anyways, and then your neighborhood develops around you. So future value is added to that. So you're not paying rent to the man anymore. You've got a mortgage, you've got your write-offs, you're living the American dream, and then meantime, your neighborhood's improving, so the value of your property is going up. So you're making smart decisions right off the bat, and those are available.
Yeah,
so.
I can't help but reiterate what I love about downtown San Diego, which I almost feel like San Diego's benefited by being one of the last emerging cities because we've learned from some of the mistakes of other cities. And there's not too many places across the country where you might see a bachelor, a woman pushing her baby in a stroller, and an empty nester, all neighbors, right? And so that's one of the fascinating things about downtown San Diego, and I think it speaks to the health of our marketplace. Some of the newer initiatives, Rafael, that are happening down there, what's on the horizon? Are they sorting out the convention center? There's been a lot of controversy around that. The Chargers, are we keeping them? Rafael, you got anything insight on that?
Well, we have some serious land use issues right now.
Yeah.
The Port of San Diego, we're engaged in some master planning, some integrated planning, all of our jurisdiction around the bay. We've got about 30 miles of coastline under our jurisdiction. With respect to the city of San Diego, we've got a number of things going on. The Lane Field Hotel, which is under construction over by the cruise ship terminals, that will be complete in the first quarter of next year. We have some additional public space that's coming online as a part of that. The convention center expansion, or the lack thereof, is a major challenge. The financing plan was ruled illegal last summer by the California Court of Appeals. The convention center has lost the site, the expansion site, so that's now back in the hands of a private entity with no alternative financing plan in the works. There's controversy about whether it needs to be a contiguous expansion versus a non-contiguous expansion. So those issues are challenging. The football stadium, the Chargers, that too is sort of part of the mix. It's a big, ball of hair. I've heard.
Give us the inside scoop, Rafael. That's how we got you. We want to know about the Chargers. First of all, they got to start winning. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's just painful at this point.
Well, I feel a little bit like we're dating someone who doesn't want to be the one that breaks up with us, and so they're being a little difficult, hoping that we break up with them. I think that we should start talking to another football franchise, and until we do, we're not going to have any leverage in these negotiations. So
I don't know if I've heard that theory yet.
Point,
it's not a bad point at all.
Yeah. No leverage. Where does that get you?
So, Chad, let me ask. I think our audience has noticed that there is a electric skateboard here in studio today. You going to hop on this thing?
I love this thing. I'll send you a video clip, but this is electric. I used to get probably about 1 ticket a month for parking, a week, so 4 a month, and they're $52.50 now, $62.50 with the $10 state surcharge. So this thing's electric. You don't have to sweat. It's got a remote control. I think I left it in the other room. It's got a little remote control guide. It's fantastic. Cruising around downtown, it's lifestyle. I don't have to get in the car. I'm on foot. I'm on board. It's easy.
That's downtown living right there. You actually have a listing that I think is on the market now. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we've got
people want to know what do you buy down there? What's available? What are the price ranges? Give us an example.
So this particular one I love. It's front row, right over by the Manchester Grand. So it's right on the front, no future development in front of it. Seaport Village is right there, Roco Park's right there. So it's got protected views, which are amazing. 1,545 square feet, 2 beds, plus a den, 2 baths, 2 parking, but it's all about the view. Absolutely stunning. Sit-down views. We're sitting here, and you're just seeing water, Point Loma, Coronado, more water, more water, more water. It's amazing. When you go in there, you just want to stay. You're like, I don't want to leave. A lot of the people that are buying in the building are from out of state, and they come and they go. They're there 2 months a year. And it's like they always tell me, we don't want to leave.
Yeah, the world is changing. Being originally from the Midwest, my parents still live in the house that I was raised in. There it was how big can you get your home, the yard, and all that. Here, it's like what? It's just more to clean, more maintenance to do in the outdoor area or the yard.
Yeah.
Here, it's like get rid of all that, live in a high rise. The HOA covers everything. You got a gym, you got security. That's downtown living. I appreciate you coming in here, Chad.
Simplify
Help us.
lifestyle, right?
Love it. Hey, when you can get by on that thing, and I'm sure your kids have fun on that as well, then,
it's a good time.
then you're living. All right, Chad, thanks for coming in here. Rafael, good luck running for city attorney.
I appreciate it.
And we'll definitely have you guys on here again soon. All right, coming up next, we're going to dive into what's happening in our mortgage environment. We've seen a lot of volatility in stocks, but what you might not realize is that also translates over to bonds, which can make mortgage rates move. So if you own a home, maybe opportunities to refinance when we catch those dips. But what would it mean to be a first-time home buyer? What is renting versus owning? We're going to dive into other markets across San Diego. And also, we're going to get into some real estate law, which you're going to hear some crazy stuff here in just a bit. You're watching The American Dream. I want you to stick around. We'll be back here in just a moment.